Dealing with someone who's narcissistic is completely exhausting and not good for our mental health. Some of us don't have the luxury of being able to go no contact. We have to learn how to respond. We can't just be reactive all the time. We have to learn how to handle ourselves when we're dealing with these types of people. Very two common things that happen in any relationship with someone who's narcissistic. You're gonna see a lot of gaslighting, you're gonna see a lot of manipulation. These two things, of course, are going to chip away at your self-esteem. They're going to make you question yourself. The questioning yourself is because you're getting very confused when you're dealing with this person. You probably think that maybe you're the problem, maybe you're acting erratic, maybe you're being controlling, because you're hearing the narrative that this person has formed to hit you with, to make you second guess yourself, to make you doubt yourself, to start chipping away at your self-esteem. What they're trying to do is they just want to dictate how you see yourself. So if I can control how you see yourself, if I can control how you respond, how reactive you are to me, then that means that I'm powerful. And that, of course, boosts my ego. It also means that I could probably control the outcome of the situation. So every situation that someone who's narcissistic is in is all about control and really just getting what it is that they want. They are pushy, they are relentless, they are childish, they are selfish. Because you're dealing with this kind of person, you're dealing with a person who is going to stop at nothing in order to get what they want from you. A narcissist has a great ability to just ignore how you feel altogether. This is the lack of empathy. So they're not really concerned on how you feel or what you need or what your thoughts are. They just are constantly reconstructing narratives and stories to fit their agenda. And their agenda, of course, is to get what they want. They're quick to invalidate you or maybe even make you feel guilty for feeling the way you're feeling. To understand what someone's feeling, be able to see both sides. And this has nothing to do with ego, because we all have ego sometimes, but at a certain point, we let that ego subside so we can really understand what this person is feeling. You're just trying to connect with another person to understand their side. When you're dealing with someone who has absolutely no empathy, that ability to say, I want to understand what it is that you're feeling or what you think or how you feel, all those things, that doesn't exist because the ego is right at the forefront, because the ego is trying to help this person to actually survive. The ego needs the validation, needs the admiration, needs the attention. It needs to control, it needs power, it needs all of these things because they are led strictly by their ego. Since they don't really have that ability to check in and be human in a lot of ways, they're going to really cross the line. They may be disrespectful in your own home, in your personal space. Maybe they just ignore your boundaries that you actually need privacy. There's no line anywhere. You and I have decency that we understand that there's a boundary and we don't want to cross it. And even when sometimes we're very much triggered in our own ego or we're living in our own ego, we might dip our toe into maybe doing something that we shouldn't do. But that kind of sense of self comes through where it's like, no, we can't do that. So there's a line in which we won't cross. That line just absolutely doesn't exist. You're gonna get a lot of opinions. You're gonna get someone who is very overly critical. You're gonna get a huge amount of projecting all of their bad behavior onto you. They turn everything around on you and make you responsible for how they're feeling or their own behavior. I cannot tell you how many times I have been in an interaction where I'm like, you're literally projecting all of this onto me. And the hard part with this is when you're in that interaction, the first thing that you want to do is be able to call this person out. And you just can't because they're not going to see it. So it's almost like you have to allow them to think whatever it is that they think, to think that you're the problem, to think that you're the bad guy, to think that you're the controlling one, to think that you're the crazy. You're not really dealing with a person that wants to play nice in the sandbox. You're not dealing with a person that has empathy. This person's never going to be able to see it. They're not going to own their stuff. So you trying to overly explain or teach this person is just absolutely exhausting. No matter the situation, I think we can all agree that there's one thing that we all need practice on, and that's boundaries with this person, but also with ourselves. So where do you really struggle the most? Do you struggle with confrontation, or do you struggle with just being too much of an explaining person or too much of trying to get this person to see your side? So you're essentially wanting the validation yourself and you're wanting it from this person. Boundaries mean that you have to do 3 things extremely well. So get out the notepad. First thing is you have to know where's the line between disrespect and respectful. If you don't know that and you can articulate it in your head, okay, this is the line, you're always going to go off of how you feel. So when you start to feel triggered, because you're going to feel it within your body, you're going to either start to feel angry, sad, or whatever. And a lot of times it's hard to do this in real time. So I always tell people disengage. I got to go. Oh, wait, can we talk about this later? Take a back seat for a second just so you can get your thoughts together, so you can understand what just happened and how it made you feel, and whether it's your stuff or disrespect. You have to be able to start understanding what are you willing to accept and what are you not willing to accept. That's step one. Sometimes it's hard to know when a trigger is happening. That's first off, because a lot of the times we get triggered, we become reactive. So we're going to completely understand the animal that we're dealing with. So you have to understand that the person you're dealing with, they trigger you. Do they trigger you when they project? When they tell you that you're crazy, when they tell you that you're the problem, when they do something that's disrespect, like what is it that this person does? Because if you stop and think, every person in your life, even the people that are not narcissistic, there are things that this person does that triggers you. So understand what it is that when this person does, this is what triggers you, and really reflect on, is this my unhealed stuff? Am I being controlling? Is this something that I really think is a problem and I don't want to be this way? Or is it really this person that's triggering me? Understand what the trigger is. Now we have to respond. So are we responding with trying to convince this person that we're not the problem, that in fact they are? Every time you are triggered, you are looking for validation. You want this person to agree with you. You want this person to do what you want to do, which is a bit controlling, but the first step in controlling is validating, that you can tell me that what I'm thinking is okay, that you can agree with what I think, how I feel. So all we're seeking is for someone to agree with us. Don't really even need anyone to actually agree with us, but we think we do because that's the unhealed wound. Also, when you are not parenting yourself and you don't know how to do this practice, you will seek validation everywhere. You will seek it in your job, you will seek it from your kids, you will seek it from the person that you hate the most in the world. Like, you want everyone to view you in a certain way. You want everyone to agree with you. You want everyone to think that you're not the problem. Like, it bothers you if someone were to think that you're the problem. So here's the thing, when you are not working on yourself, you are not validating yourself, you are going to seek it externally, because it's validation is something that we all need. It is a part of your emotional health. Number two, communication. Now we're really getting into when we are triggered and we're looking for the validation, how do we respond? Are we being assertive? And assertive doesn't mean nasty. Assertive is just to the point. We're not really over-explaining. We're not second-guessing. We're not questioning our own selves. We're not doing any of those things. Are we assertive? Which means I'm clear. This is what the boundary is. And the most important thing, because this is the true test of like healthy communication. Are you calm? Are you calm? Are you relaxed? Are you confident in what you're saying? Are you sticking to what you're saying and you're not letting this person, bring you around? No, we're not doing any of that. We're not going here and there. We're staying focused and we're just talking about this. When your communication is just attitude, nasty, a little angry, a little passive aggressive yourself, like when you're doing all of those things, you're not in clear, healthy communication. You're just not. And if you want to say, well, I don't care, I'm just angry, I'm just upset, okay, totally fine. But you got to learn how to deal with that on your own. Because the point of all of this is for you to become confident, healthy in your own skin while you're dealing with this person. I think number three is probably sometimes the hardest. Actually, to be honest, I think they're all hard when you're really starting this off, because you definitely can't work on two if you don't even know one yet. So it's really, I think they're all difficult and they all have different phases that you kind of have to go through. But number three is, look, can you actually talk to this person and be consistent with what your boundaries actually are? Consistency is really hard. It may sound like it's something basic or easy, but it's really not, because if you're dealing with someone who is narcissistic, who has MPD, even if you're just dealing with kind of a just difficult person, they're gonna carry one trait that you or I probably don't carry, which is being relentless. If I'm relentless, that means that I'm not stopping until I get what I want. Okay, great trait in some areas of life, and a really toxic and unhealthy trait in this area of life. If you were dealing with a semi-healthy person, then you wouldn't have to do number three. Like, you wouldn't have to enforce a boundary. You wouldn't have to be consistent. You wouldn't have to just like keep holding this person accountable. And I don't mean accountable meaning they're gonna change, but mostly the accountability has to obviously come from yourself. You would not have to do this. You would kind of state your boundaries. Someone would be respectful. They would say, yep, absolutely, totally get it, my bad. But since you're not dealing with that person, since you are dealing with someone who is manipulative, who is controlling, who is selfish, who is just wrapped up in what it is that they want, Yeah, that's not going to happen. So you have the hardest thing at times is okay, you've done number one, great. You're working on number two, you're doing pretty good. Sometimes you're not that great, right? Maybe sometimes you are reactive. That's okay, you're human. 3 is, are you consistent? Can you be consistent with this person? That sometimes is the hardest thing, because what happens in these relationships, and it doesn't matter the type of relationship that we're talking about. We could be talking about co-parenting, we could be talking about someone that you work with, a boss, a sister. This is for the people that they can't go no contact. So if you can't go no contact, then you have to deal with this person on some level. So if you have to deal with a person on some level, then you're gonna have to constantly be doing the same thing over and over again. And it becomes difficult because there are times, because this is where this person is very good at this, there are times where everyone's playing nice in the sandbox. Not every interaction is gonna be this horrible, toxic interaction with this person. No, there are times where, okay, we're getting along, or this is working, or okay, we're all playing nice, like awesome, good to go. And then here we go. Someone oversteps a boundary, someone is disrespectful, someone doesn't completely lacks empathy, someone is not being fair, someone is playing tit for tat. There's so many different scenarios that can happen that when they happen, you go back to square one and okay, we're starting all over with this. Let's go back and just do a quick little recap. You have to learn the line in which you are not going to tolerate this behavior. And that doesn't mean that the other person is going to change, probably far from it, but it does mean that you are going to do something different when they behave like this. Number 2, getting very comfortable with communication. One of the things that I have learned over the years with communication is someone who displays healthy communication is a person who slows down. You're not trying to win an argument. You're articulating yourself, you're just speaking, but you're slowing down. The more I slow down and I all of a sudden feel a little calmer, then that's a totally different conversation, because you can start to watch how that person begins to get very erratic, or they make this nasty gesture, or they say something unkind. You're going to start to see the egg crack a little bit. The more you kind of just lean back and just relax and just communicate and just enforce, that's all we're doing. We're not trying to control someone. We're definitely not trying to get this person to change. That's something that before we even start boundaries, we really have to work on. But let's say that we're there, that we understand on some levels that this person is not going to change. It's always going to be a struggle or a difficulty. Then you should be able to just talk and this person not intimidate you. You can talk and not have confrontation. And if you do start to find yourself getting a little heated, because you're human, and that's going to happen, the more you learn how to back away, how to disengage from a conversation, it makes you healthy, because it means that I am prioritizing myself first, my peace, my happiness, my calm, all the stuff that, look, you were having a great day, this person comes into your space, says something, offensive or rude or disrespectful, or whatever that looks like, and now they've ruined the rest of your day. You just work so hard on keeping your energy good, keeping that vibration good. You're in a good space, you're in that little bubble, and they can just come in and just ruin all of that because of what? Because they want to be disrespectful? No, we're not allowing that to happen anymore. We're gonna have way more control over ourselves when we're dealing with this person. You very much have to know the person that you're dealing with when you go into interactions with this person. You being consistent with this person in this relationship is the hardest thing when it's something that you haven't done. Okay, great, I've worked on myself, just kind of stand up to this person and I'm finally there and I feel confident and I'm good to go, and you do it and you nail it. Yeah, you're probably gonna have to do it again. And look at it this way, the more you do it, the easier it gets, because you know how to do it. You're gonna get pushback. You're gonna get this person testing your boundaries. It's not going to just be, well, I've communicated and I was calm and then they didn't respect that. No, they're not going to respect it. You communicating is just you basically standing up for yourself. Okay, great, I stood up for myself. But you then really enforcing that, no, I come first, that the priority is me and I'm not engaging. Enforcing of boundaries is not just talking, it's action. So maybe the boundary is that, unfortunately, I can't really help you anymore. Or unfortunately, I'm going to disengage from this conversation. people always ask me, how do I just not talk to this person if they're saying something rude? Well, I just usually walk off and then I don't say anything. Well, now you're giving them the silent treatment and then you end up looking like the problem. So the silent treatment can't exist if you are telling someone that you are disengaging. If you are telling someone that, hey, look, this is going too far, this is getting too heated, I don't like what you just said, yada, yada, then you can leave, and that's not the silent treatment. And if someone wants to tell you, no, you are giving me the silent treatment because you don't want to talk to me, you're just reiterating your boundaries that, unfortunately, I do not talk to people when they behave in this way. If you would like to approach me in a different way, then we can continue the conversation. It's all practice. So don't be scared to kind of go toe-to-toe with this person, but you also don't want to go toe-to-toe wanting them to change, because that's not going to happen. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, 50% off all of my online courses right now, so definitely go take advantage. I'll link everything down below. Thank you guys. I hope you are well, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.